I'm your host and facilitator, Billy Ryan, and I want to welcome you to the Black Church Leadership Podcast with Master Life Coach and NLP practitioner, Apostle Martin Wilson. Apostle Wilson's goal for creating this podcast is to help you, as a church leader, to remove the spiritual, mental, and psychological hindrances that keep you from being the best version of yourself. We now go to our broadcast already in progress.
Grace and peace, this is Bishop Wilson. Welcome to the Black Church Leadership Podcast. We're excited today to be with you again. We're going to bring you part 2 of a message that we did about a week ago. Hope that you enjoyed last week's podcast with Pastor Cedric Johnson, awesome teacher, teaching on discipline. But this week we're going to go back and we're going to be teaching part 2 of From Directing People to Connecting with People. As we said, these are notes that we've taken from a book, awesome book. You need to get it, by Dr. John Maxwell, that is entitled The Leadership Shift. The Leadership Shift. So I definitely want to recommend that book. That book came out in 2019. The chapter that we're pulling from is the communication shift. It's a chapter within the book. We talked about on last week that, a lot of times as a leader, people would think that we're supposed to be natural communicators, but it does not come naturally for everyone. So in the communication shift, we're talking about moving from directing to connecting with people. We're moving from telling people to listening to people. We're moving from us giving answers to us listening to people. And so we said that what we endeavored to do was to give you 7 keys. In last lesson, we gave you 4 of the 7. Number 1 was humility, talking about how we need to humble ourselves, find common ground with those people that we lead, and that 1 is too small of a number for us to do anything great for us, especially when we have a God-sized vision that God has given us. Number 2, we need to become curious. We need to become curious about other people, asking them questions, asking questions of the people that we lead. And when we begin to ask questions, it empowers us as leaders, because you first need to find people before you try to lead people. And that's not talking about going out and finding them, but find them. Where are they? Where are the people that are currently already in ministry with you? Number 3 was it takes effort. Are you willing to put forth the effort? To move from directing to connecting is going to take effort. You've got to be intentional, very intentional about doing that. Listen, if you're a leader and you're intentional about moving from directing to connecting, you will not be lonely. Why? Because you're constantly pouring into other people and you're sowing those seeds, and it makes the ministry great. The 4th one was trustworthy. Can people trust you? Can they count on you? Not you being perfect, not you neglecting your family, but you being authentic and transparent. So key number 5 is one that I really like and I really appreciate, and it's generosity. Moving from being a leader that is just directing people to connecting with people, you've got to show generosity. That means you're the first to give. You're going to find people that you begin to pour in. You're going to be the first to give. You're going to be the first to care. You're going to be the first to listen. When you get to that place that you're showing that generosity, it becomes a way of life. You become a whale of generosity. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going out and you're giving money, but you're pouring into people. You're generous with the knowledge and the understanding and that you can give, that will be seeds that will add value to other people's life. A connecting leader, he counts his day and the success of his day by how many seeds that he's sown into the lives of other people. He's not worried about the harvest. When you're a director, leader, and that mindset, you're focused on the harvest. What can I reap? What can I get out of the people? How much work can I get out of them? Don't worry about the harvest. If you're going to practice this key number 5 and being generous, You can't worry about the harvest. You are constantly thinking about how much can I sow? The harvest will take care of itself. When as a connector, you need to spend up to 80% of your time sowing into people. I know that seems like a lot, but I promise you, it makes ministry so much easier because people want to work with someone that is showing them that they're generous and they're willing to pour into them as an individual, not because of what you can get out of me. Key number 6, listening. It is so important that we develop the skill of active listening, moving from directing people to connecting with people. You've got to be ready to hear. Leaders love to be heard. We love to be heard. We talk for a living. We love to be heard, but we're not great listeners. We don't like to be ignored, and we're not great listeners. The best way to find common ground with people is to become a better listener. Andy Stanley, who is Charles Stanley, you probably know him. Andy Stanley is an awesome teacher on leadership and communication. And I quote Andy Stanley. He says, leaders who don't listen will eventually be surrounded by people that have nothing to say. They will be surrounded by people that have nothing to say. That's a dangerous place. That's a very dangerous place when you're a leader and you're not listening for people. You're not able to listen to them and to hear what they actually need. So therefore, you start preaching messages because someone on television preached it, and you're talking about you're in the vein. Well, you may be in the vein for someone else's church, but what does your people need? Dangerous place for a leader not to listen. And in the famous words of my nephew Tyrone, you will find yourself by yourself because people are not going to stay with people that are not willing to listen to them. And the last key is encouragement. Encouragement. Moving from directing people to connecting people, you have to be an encourager. You've got to know how to encourage people. Leaders, please hear me. When you give oxygen to the soul of people, when you, as their leader, someone they look up to, someone that has spoken into their lives and they've seen change in their life. So when you come back around and you're giving encouragement, it speaks volumes. It's like oxygen to their soul. Encouragement is me saying, I believe in you. I believe that you can do everything that God has purposed you to do. So I want to go back over these real quick. I hope that you will take these. If you missed episode number 1, you need to go back and listen to part 1 of this particular series. I think that would be probably episode number 7 is part 1 of from directing people to connecting people. So number 1, humility. Number 2, curiosity, asking those questions. Number 3, it takes effort. Be willing to take that effort and be intentional. Number 4, trustworthiness, being authentic and transparent. And then today we talked about generosity. Be the first to give. Number 6, be willing to listen, open to listen. You've got to, if you're going to have people that are going to help you to build, you don't want to have a lot of people around you that don't have anything to say because you've stopped listening. And number 7, encouragement. I think that these, if you would take these, begin to apply them to your life. One of the things that I heard today as I was studying was that so many of us, even in the church, we're having an intellectual exercise. We're taking the thought, we're playing with the thought in our mind, but an intellectual exercise is not enough when it comes to the things of God, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to developing yourself, because instead of just having this mental, intellectual exercise that you're having, you've got to get some action steps and put these things in action. I hope that you will take these 7 keys and put them in action in your life. Listen, I'd love to hear from you. Please go on our website. Please like, share, subscribe. You can also email us there. You can contact us there. If you're on Facebook, please feel free to inbox us. We'd love to hear from you. If you're a leader and you would like to be on our podcast, if you have a leadership subject that you would like to cover, please let me know. I'd love to have you on. Until next time, remember, God is the greatest power, and you are absolutely not defeated. God bless.
You have been listening to the Black Church Leadership Podcast with Master Life Coach and NLP practitioner, Apostle Martin Wilson. We ask that you follow Apostle on all major podcast outlets and the official website www.wilsonleadership.org.
Sponsored by Billy Ryan Life and Executive Coaching, and the Ecclesia Ecumenical Leadership and Church Growth Development Network. Executive Producer, Billy Ryan.